Friends, welcome to another edition of Wild and True. Today we're going to talk a little bit, about scents and lures. That kind of goes hand in hand with the rut and hunting big whitetails in general. But first, let's have a word from a few of the people that help make this podcast possible. Gary Stevie at Three Heart Outfitters, your North Idaho adventure headquarters. Cat Paw Bend, your source for seedlings and seeds for producing your own game paradise. Winchester Shot Shells, packing the punch for trophy longbeards. Mossy Oak Camo, hiding hunters in plain sight for 30 years. And Federal Ammo, simply the best over-the-counter ammo for all types of game. Well, when it comes to scents and lures, you really see they're used dramatically in trapping, and that's how I come to use a lot of different scents and lures. And when you're after beaver, when you're after fox, when you're after coyotes, there's several different scents you can use that have kind of a common effect around the whole. Of course, you need to be as scent free as possible, especially when you start trapping coyotes and foxes. But I believe that by adding, more or less some confidence type scents, you legitimize the disturbance a little bit. And by that I mean it kind of helps mask the human odor. And one thing that I really, really do not believe is that you will totally ever eliminate human odor in the whitetail woods. Even if you put your clothes in a bag, if you change your clothes, it's just not gonna happen. But what you can do is do a couple little things to help minimize the amount of scent that you pass directly to the deer. Case in point is as you go into the tree stand, a lot of times just the way whitetail woods are set up, you're passing through some type of grassy, maybe briars and grass and small saplings into an opening, an edge, because whitetails love edges. And so any place that you would come into contact with that brush, I like to carry a pair of little clippers, and I may not get it all done the first day, and I may not get it all done the second trip into the stand, but as I make my way to the tree, when I get into the area surrounding the tree, be it 50 yards, for a rifle, or 20 yards for a bow, I start trimming anything that my hand will come into contact with, or my upper thighs. And of course, rubber boots, they all help well. It just anything you can do to minimize the amount of odor that you transfer to that brush. And the reason why is because that particular brush, a lot of times, I'm a pretty big guy, and if I lean down and move a briar out of the way, I just deposited my scent right in a white-tailed deer's nose. As he travels through the ground, it's about nose tall on a white-tailed deer. And like I said, I never think that you're totally going to conceal odor, But I do definitely believe that you can do a variety of different things to help mask the odor as you enter and leave a stand location or a blind, or um, just as you move through the woods. And one of the things that we've always used, and I finally got it all put together, is, and for lack of a better term, we just call it critter. But one of the things that we've always used is kind of a combination of several different woodland elements with some of the glandular secretions from a deer, um, and it may have a touch or two of other stuff in it. But anyway, we produce this critter, and critter can be used in a variety of different ways. It comes in a bar, and you can actually flake the bar, take a knife and shave some off into the washing machine as you wash your clothes. Um, you can flake some flakes off around scrapes, and that's existing scrapes. I've never really tried to generate a mock scrape too much, but I've just always been able to find me a scrape that's big enough to work with to begin with, and all that. But critter serves as kind of an all-purpose scent. It's kind of a masking scent. You could take a shower with it, and it smells like the woods with a little bit of touch of deer thrown in. I was in a store one day, and the man asked, "Did we make that soap ourselves?" And I started laughing, and the reason why I was laughing is because we did make it ourselves at that time, and it's pretty easy. I could whip up a batch now if I had to. But uh, the reason why I started laughing is when we got started, me and Uncle Butch and even Fred Law, with the whole Wild Venture crew, we all would throw our 2 cents in, and it looked like a bunch of witches standing around a cauldron out there. It'd be like, does anybody got a possum foot? We'll throw that possum foot in there. But that's just joking. We actually didn't do that. But critter serves as a masking scent. Some other great masking scents are coon urine. Coons are everywhere, and so a lot of times if I don't have anything else, you can take that coon urine and kind of mist on the outside of your boots, the top of your thighs. I even spray my gloves with it. Once again, to keep from depositing human odor directly in a deer's face and all that. And I tell you how important scent becomes. In some areas of the country, I have hunted deer in the Midwest, and I have seen it generally takes a certain age class. It's going to be anywhere from 3.5-year-old bucks on up. I've seen them kind of lose their brain as they're rutting and bust into an area and almost immediately realize that they have messed up. And they start, cats do this a lot of times. They start picking their feet up and just backing out, just as easy as they can back out. A lot of times, if you're close enough to them, a lot of times you'll see they'll start trembling all over. I was in this swamp in Alabama, and I was going down. It's kind of a unique environment. It was flooded, and not deep water, just an inch or two was everywhere though, and it had the underbrush was all something that the deer didn't eat. I do know that, and it was about anywhere from a foot to 18 inches tall, and the deer had worn little paths. They'd come down those paths, but the paths were all water, and then it hit a little hump of dry ground, and it'd be all water. And I was easing up through there one morning, and I heard something. So I stopped, and I, I, I don't think, no, I know there wasn't no big tree around me, but I stopped in the open. It was tight enough in there that if a deer had shown up, he was going to be at 30, 35 yards. You know, he's going to be right on top of me and all that. And anyway, I heard a splash or two, and I looked up, and here come a bobcat, and he was on the same path that I was on. And he was just having him a big bobcat kind of day, and he was just going along and minding his own business, and I was standing there, and I was kind of looking over the top of his back to avoid making eye contact with him. And so he come on down the trail, and he was a pretty cat. He wasn't that big, but he wasn't that small neither. I don't know what he probably would have weighed. As bobcats go, he probably weighed 30 pounds at least. He was a pretty good cat. And so he's coming down through there, coming down through that. And I got to think, I said, I wonder what he's going to do when he gets up here to me. I'm standing in the trail, and these 18-inch tall plants are on both sides, and I'm standing in the trail. And of course, I generally, a lot of times, will wear a rubber bottom leather top boot just because I'm most comfortable in that. And we went over boots a couple weeks ago or whenever, and it allows me to feel where I'm at on a tree stand. I can take a bean boot and feel through the top of the boot and know what bar I'm hooking my foot under in case I got to lean way out, or I'm just real comfortable in that type of shoe. And but usually the ones that I end up wearing are knee high because I try to keep the bottom of my breeches all in check. Number one, keep cuffs from swishing back and forth. Sometimes people be walking through the woods and they make more racket than if they just stood there in the wide open in one place. But here come this cat, and he's tipping down through there, and he got about, he was close. I could have hit him in the head with my rifle barrel. I know that. So leaning out, he was within 6 to 8 feet of me. He was closer than 8 feet. I have to compare things in my brain to what I see in the woods and everything. And he was definitely closer than 8 foot because sheet of plywood 8 foot tall, and he was closer than that. And I said, I wonder what he's gonna do when he get up here to me, because they do all kinds of crazy stuff. And uh, anyway, he trotted along, and he didn't have a care in the world, and all that kind of stuff. And so I could see him from about 15 feet away, and he come on down, and for sake of a better argument, let's just call it about 6 foot. About 6 foot away, I saw when he realized something was wrong. I was looking right at him, and of course I towered above him then, and he just slammed on brakes, and he looked real slow to the left,